right, we'll get this thing started. For everybody who doesn't know me, I'm John Bowden. I'm going to introduce our team here. We have Bob Mahar with North Sails in Fort Lauderdale. He's helping organize some of the Melges 24 Worlds. We also have Taylor Canfield and Mike Buckley, some great Melges 24 sailors here. They're putting together a good, some good teams for this World Championships. And we're just going to have a little chat about sort of regatta preparations for this Worlds, but we also want to really kind of let people know, these are tips and tools that we're using that don't necessarily have to be for a World Championship. This could really be for any. This can really be for any sort of top event that you want to do, whether it be a Nationals, Charleston Race Week, or your local club racing. We wanted to kick things off, introduce Taylor and Mike Buckley. Those guys can say hi for us. A little bit of background on themselves. Taylor, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike might be muted here. But
gotcha. I'll start it off. Well, yeah, my name's Taylor Canfield. Started sailing the Melges 24 back, I don't know, probably 10 to 12 years ago now. Took a little bit of a break, but back into it now with the Dark Energy program with Laura Grondin driving. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. And thanks, John, for having us. We are very avid North Sails users, and we're looking forward to this World Championship here in the U.S.
Hey guys, Mike Buckley. I've been in the class for, actually I saw it pop up on Facebook the other day, the Worlds in Key Largo, which was in 2004 or 5, which made me feel really old, but that was a heck of an event. I still remember Jimmy Spithill winning in the last race with his Prada team, and young Mac Ignace on board, who was just a junior sailor at the time and has turned into a hell of a sailor around the world. But since spent many years sailing with Monsoon, with Bruce Ayers, and have done some sailing with Travis Weissleader on the Lucky Dog, and last year on the Blind Squirrel with John Brown, and this year kind of building a new team with John Bailey on the Talisman. So excited to, I've kind of had some ebbs and flows of great teams and new teams, and excited for the challenge that we have ahead, which is building a new team, new boat, new crew, new sails, and figuring out what works and what doesn't.
That's great. So to kick things off, first thing I wanted to mention, as we talk about preparations for a World Championship or any major regatta, I think that one thing that Mike has kind of taught me through the years is to kind of work backwards. Start off with your, what your goal is, what the event is, and for a lot of us here, and unfortunately for the Melges 24s for the last couple of years, has been kind of, once the dates are set for the World Championships, then we can sort of start to come up with a plan to be there and race there. I know we're now into 2 years of canceling a World Championships, and everybody's super excited to get back out on the water and run this, and get this World Championships back underway and get back to, World Championship racing. But I think, Mike, when the dates get set for these regattas, kind of what's your first initial thoughts as far as working backwards from that event?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in any of my sailing the last few years, I've kind of flipped my mentality of, when you're young and you're new and you're just trying to get in, you typically say yes a lot, right? Somebody says, hey, I want to go win the Melges 24 Worlds. Sure, I'm your guy. Let's go do it, right? And what you quickly find is you're not sure that you're, where the expectations are and if they're aligned. I've, over the last, I don't know, 8 years, I've tried to approach it by saying to, typically the owner that you're working with, what are your expectations? And usually, the low hanging fruit is to win. Okay, great. Well, what does that mean? Because it takes, a winning recipe is these ingredients. And, maybe your goal is just to have fun and be mid-fleet and improve every event. And that's a different recipe. But they can all lead into a positive outcome at the end of the year when, the team meets their goals. And I think that's something that's that maybe us all as competitors forget is, the goal doesn't just have to be to win the regatta. The goal could be to improve your individual skill, your rig tune, your tacking, whatever it is, and get to an end result where everybody's, on Sunday night, when everybody goes home, they're feeling good about themselves, instead of our goal was to win, but we didn't kind of do the things we needed to win. So now we're disappointed. So that's one of my big takeaways, is setting expectations with your crew, with yourself, what's realistic, and going from there.
Yeah, I think, Mike, that's a big step here. It's important to remember in these big regattas, there's really only one person who gets to walk away as the winner. And so if you set yourself up saying, I'm going to win this regatta, there's a very good chance that you're going to leave the regatta disappointed. And so we've got to come at these events and with the right mentality, so that we can go do them and enjoy ourselves. Because at the end of the day, only one person gets to win, but we've got to have 30 or 40 other boats that went out, did a regatta, and had a good time. Taylor, you do a very good job. You've won quite a few world championships in your day. How do you sort of set up the lead up and the practice? How do you get your schedule set with your team and setting up that lead up to the worlds?
Yeah, it's a lot of what Mike said, starting off with kind of expectations and how much the team is looking to put into the effort. For us with the dark energy program, we have emphasized working on gearing up for the Melges 24 Worlds first, and then sliding in the J70 World second. But it's all about finding a team that is going to cater to kind of that lead up process to the event. So we're lucky to have some very dedicated people and that are able to do most of the events and most of the training leading up to it. Scott Ewing, Cole Bauer, and this guy Rich Peel, who is not a pro sailor. So oftentimes, catering to his needs a little bit can be a bit of a challenge. So, but yeah, if just making sure that you have kind of manageable and reasonable expectations about how much time you can put into the program. I think Rick and Laura are always trying to add days, but we're always also trying to make sure that we're getting the most out of every day that we have on the water. So I think it's easy to say, oh yeah, we should, do 20, 30 days of training. But maybe not utilizing those days to the fullest extent. So I think it's better to often do, fewer days and make sure that you have a very structured program for those days, and making sure that you're getting the most out of each one.
Yeah, I think that's really important. The team I sail with on Lucky Dog Racing, just due to our schedule and Travis Weisletter's schedule, we don't get the opportunity to really put in as many days as we'd like, certainly to get ready, to be a contender. But so the days that we do get out there, we need to make sure are the most efficient. And that kind of rolls into my next topic here, as far as boat preparation, things that we can we were talking before this started about things that we can control right away. We can have a good day out on the water, a bad day out on the water, but things that we can control before we leave the dock, I think are critically important. And so boat prep, repairs, rigging, making sure that that our time out on the water is effective. I think you guys, Taylor, very lucky to be out there in one of the newer boats. I think that's, a real beneficial thing. but there are some teams out there that, you know, aren't with new boats. And so, Mike, I know you're putting together a boat, hull number 720. You've got a lot of work done on that boat and gotten it ready, and you know, sailed it to a real nice second place finish in Bacardi Cup in January. What are some of the things that you guys work on, you know, Mike, and getting that boat ready and making sure that you can utilize your time out on the water effectively?
I mean, you know, I think it kind of all circles back to confidence, right? So it's how do you build your confidence around your team and your tools, and you know, practice, preparation, and good tools leads to confidence. So as a tactician, you know, for myself or Taylor, no matter what boat we're sailing on, you know, you're making a decision based on your confidence, and if your confidence is high, usually your decision making is pretty good, or you're just off that day. And so, you know, I like to, again, just have the group tick off the small things, right? You know, things that don't necessarily take talent, and they don't cost a lot of money, right? Like making sure your boat, you know, your shrouds have, you know, the right lubricant on them, right? Your ringdings are taped. You know, I remember John in you know, at the Worlds in where were we? Where your head stays broke. Helsinki, you know, John's team had just like some really bad luck, and they got a bad streak of head stays, and, you know, it cost them being contenders in the event. And so you think about how much money and time you spend to go to a major event to have a $200 head stay, you know, essentially take you out of the event, is something that, you know, when you go home on Sunday night, you can't stop thinking about. So just little things, you know, making sure your boat's waxed, making sure somebody dives the boat every day. It all leads to, you know, to confidence for you to achieve your goals, whatever they are. There's actually a decent Sailing World article about that Taylor was interviewed I don't know, I think it just came out. And he just talks about, you know, on the way out to the race course, you know, one of the things that really irks him is when teammates are cutting the fingers off their gloves, right? That's something you can do at your hotel room. And it's a mentality. It doesn't take talent. It just takes getting into that mentality of, when I show up to the boat, I'm ready. I'm ready to go racing, and your whole team knows it. You know, tie your shoes, that sort of stuff, which sounds so basic, but as Taylor, I would imagine, would reiterate, it's everything.
Yeah, just the little things, you know. I think you know, what we do, I think, well with our team is, you know, we assign roles for everyone on the team to just do little projects and little jobs. And you know, when you divide them up amongst 5 people, it actually, you know, turns out to not be that big of a, you know, of a project for any one individual. You know, so for Laura example, she's in charge of the electronics, making sure they're charged. You know, Scott's in charge of cleaning the bottom in the morning and making sure the boat's clean and ready to go. You know, so just little things like that. Richie will go fill the water bottles. So, and of course, making sure your gloves are cut. That's a big one for me. But it just adds to those like little nuances that, you know, can be avoided when you show up and you're ready to leave the dock and like, oh no, we need to do this, this, and this. And you know, you've already set your dock out time, and you know, you're not ready to go when that time hits. And for me, especially, that's a frustrating moment, knowing that, you know, we're not prepared going into that day of racing. So I think
even when you like rig or de-rig your boat, I'm a big believer of like one person owning that, because if you de-rig your boat as a team, yeah, it's easier, right? But 9 out of 10 times things get put away in a different way. One person realizes, oh, that ring ding needs to be replaced. They never tell anybody because you're in a rush. Or when you're putting the boat together, you know, 5 people put the boat together and just things get missed. And then you get out to the race course and it's like, oh, well, Taylor you never told me that we needed a new ring ding. And so it's not necessarily about assigning blame, but if you know that one person is in charge of that one thing, when that one thing is right or wrong, you know how to fix it next time, right? You know how to fix the problem. Either that person is just always forgetting to, to do their task. And maybe you give that task to somebody else on your team, or they're always doing it well, and it's just a well-oiled machine. But I think having a point person, nobody needs two tacticians, nobody needs two boat captains, right? It's just too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, and just real quick on something that Mike mentioned, having spares is huge. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that upfront cost, $200 for a new piece of line, or but in the end, that's a small cost to a program, and all said and done. So, and like Mike said, if your backstay breaks and your rig falls down in a race, that's going to be a lot more expensive thing moving forward. So yeah, I think just making sure that you have spares for everything and everything gets inspected really well going into the big events. And, and in the grand scheme of things, another piece of line is going to be a small expense if something major goes wrong because the line breaks on the boat.
Yeah, I think you guys are all bringing up some pretty awesome points for the everyday sailor. There's certainly some big budget teams out there that have the money to kind of make sure that everything's perfect and right. But I got to tell you, there's a lot of things on these boats that don't cost a lot of money, that can be right, that can help make your regatta go better. We talk about there being 35 teams of this regatta, and not everybody's going to win it. But I tell you what, when you come off the water and you felt like I sailed well, sailed as best I could, the boat was ready, and you can come off the water feeling a lot better. I will never forget that Helsinki, Finland, Helsinki Worlds, where we broke those 2 head stays, and it was so frustrating because we put so much time and effort into getting to that World Championships, and we thought we had everything right. We were replacing our ball bearings and our swivels, and and just for whatever reason, we got unfortunate, and we broke 2 head stays in 2 separate races, and and it just left us feeling pretty tough. And I think that we were going to talk a little bit about at events and sort of owning those jobs, but there is a lot of that little bit of preparation that can go a long way. We'll get into a little bit of race prep as we move forward. I do want to talk about sail prep. As North Sails here, we're putting this on, and we've got a big job ahead of us to be ready for this regatta. North Sails has put in a ton of time developing our new product. Taylor's been a real vocal proponent of what we're doing, and sort of and he's seen where the development that we've put in is paid off in our transition to 3DI. He was one of the holdouts on the paneled sails, and as we've moved forward and kept working, I think he's grown in confidence for these new 3DI sails. Mike has been using them for a long time, and so he kind of bought into the program a little bit sooner. But you guys are both pretty happy with the development of our product. As we move forward, how much does this sail conversation start for you? What are some things that you think of when you're choosing a product? I know you've kind of, Taylor's tried to use different sails and whatnot. What are some things that you guys think about in the sail prep? I know Mike has some real big thoughts on the cheapest way to go faster is with new sails, but what do you guys think? Mike, what do you think on the sail development? You've been a part of this 3DI development from the first time we sailed with them in Lake Garda a number of years ago.
Yeah, I think that change in anything in our lives, right, is a little scary, right? No matter what it is. And I always try to apply everyday things in my life to when I go racing. I remember the first time we put up the sail in Lake Garda, I looked at it and I said something probably not very nice. And, by the end of the week, we were the fastest boat upwind. And I think I probably apologized to John for my first reaction. And it was just, I wasn't used to this change, right? You're looking at something that's a different color. that visually looks flatter or fuller to your eye, or you see more imperfections or whatever it is. It's, you know, just being general, it just looks different. It doesn't mean it is or isn't. And, you know, we bought into it, you know, very quickly, right? Like when we looked at it, it was light air. It was just not the right condition. But I, you know, with Bruce Ayers, we always had nice sails. And, you know, what was really impressive is in Italy at the last Worlds, we had conditions from, I think, 2 knots to maybe 30 something one day. And, you know, we had a shot to win the event coming down the final run of the last race. And so, you know, pretty impressive that the sails could go through that range. Yeah, I mean, I also buy into the mentality of keeping it simple. You know, over the years, I don't have the group carry a ton of battens. You know, we've got some spares for heavy air and things like that, but we keep it pretty simple. You're not going to see me or my team walking down the dock with fistfuls of battens. You know, I don't get too carried away with all the customization. For me, I just want to go the same speed as the other boats. If we can go faster, that's a benefit, but, you know, ideally going the same speed is all I feel like you could ever ask for. Yeah, John and his group have always been good to us, and any team I've been on, helping us get great sails and great service. And yeah, I without a North Sails hat on, I've said this to probably 100 clients over the years. You know, the cheapest way to go faster is a new jib. And it's not inexpensive. And I don't mean that it is, but it's powerful to have, you know, nice fresh sail. And I think one thing to think about, and not to talk too much here, but how you take care of your sails, right? So let's say you only want to have one set of new sails for the year, or for 2 years, or for 10 years, or whatever it is. The less sails that you are going to purchase, the better you need to take care of your sails. And that's something, you know, on monsoon especially, we were so anal about how we furled our jib. You know, we never furled our jib with our backstay on, right? One furl with a backstay on, you know, and you get the crazy crease, it's no longer a new jib. So that stuff doesn't take, you know, talent. It just takes buying into, that's my energy, right? That sail is my horsepower. I want to use it as best I can. So I'm going to take care of it. How you take it down, how you roll it, how you store it in your trailer. All that sort of stuff is actually going to make you go faster, especially Sunday of a regatta.
Yeah, Taylor, you guys on the Dark Energy, you guys do a really nice job of taking care of your sails. And I think, you know, what Mike said is, you know, if you're not buying sails all the time, you got to be willing to put that time in to make sure that they're, you know, well taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with Mike. It's, you know, you can ask anyone on any team I've sailed with a furling jib. It's like, you know, that sail only gets furled going downwind with the backstay off.
Right.
And, you know, even around top marks, you know, if you're furling a sail, make sure that, you know, you're looking at the sail that you're furling. Because, you know, even one bad furl in a race, you know, yeah, you're trying to get this thing away, but, you know, you can really do some damage, which can affect, you know, the longevity of this sail for not only that event, but, you know, future events moving forward. Yeah, and you know, we're fortunate to have a nice van to store everything on different racks, and you know, we try to make sure we take the batten tension out of the sails every time. But yeah, you know, like Mike said, I think we try to keep it super simple. You know, yeah, I find it even hard pressed for me to be putting, you know, heavier battens into the main at this point. You know, I think there's so many ways to manipulate the sail shape. You know, just using different controls on the boat, that, you know, you don't need to make it as complicated as a lot of people, you know, are in this fleet. I think there's ways to you know, create different shapes and get the same, you know, boat speed out of the sails, you know, just by the control lines on the boat alone.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think, you know, both of you guys kind of hit the nail on the head. By keeping it simple, it goes a long way, and it gives you that confidence, you know, to know that you're not like in the wrong setting, or, if you don't have a ton of choices, then you're going to be in the range that you need to be. Like on our boat, we don't have a lot of batten choices. It's either the heavy top batten or the normal top batten. And I think minimizing those chances does a really nice job of, just sort of giving you confidence that you're where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, we've with Dark Energy program, we've gone through pretty much every sail in the Melges 24 class. So we tried the quantum sails, we tried the panel north sails, which we used for quite a while, and actually still have a set of those. But I think that North's done a great job, and I was a little hesitant to move away from the paneled sails because we were going really well. And I'd still think there's maybe a condition that the panel sails might have a little bit of an edge over the 3DI, but I think that there's a bigger range, and that North Sails has done a great job opening up that range for their 3DI set of sails that you can survive in the extreme ranges of the wind scale. So that's kind of why we switched over, knowing that that we can still make the 3DI sails go well in the lighter, shiftier, kind of puffy conditions, but then in that uprange condition, we're confident that we're going to be one of the fastest boats on the race course.
Yeah, I think that's what we've worked really hard to try to achieve with the 3DI sails is to give them more flexibility. I know when we put our sails up for the first time, it was tough. It was tough looking at because it was different, and the different kind of made us scared. And so Mike Marshall, Per, the guys, feedback from Mike, Buckley, and Taylor have gone a long way, and we're on our 4th iteration of our jibs, and we're on our 2nd iteration of the mainsail, and we're really starting to narrow in on good fast designs. But just to let everybody else know, we're not staying stagnant on our designs. We're continuing to work. We're continuing to prepare. We're using a lot of the feedback from our teams to get us into good position. So enough talking about sails. That was our little brief moment of plug there. Want to kind of move into sort of the lead up events, practice, some plans to go into a regatta preparation. We talked about individuals on the boat kind of taking on their specific jobs. And this kind of all goes back into things that we can do to prepare for a sailboat race that really don't cost any money or don't require a ton of talent. Both you guys are down here in Fort Lauderdale this week training. You guys have teamed up. You're going to be tuning against each other, tuning with each other, practicing this weekend. I think one of the best things that any team can do is find a tuning partner that they know that they can meet out on the race course and start going through work through their steps leading up to any given race. You guys both, found tuning partners in each other. How important is that to give you that confidence before a race day? Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. I think Mike and I have done this in numerous classes, and I think we operate a little bit of the same way, knowing that that every day we go sailing, that both boats are going to be fully prepared. And so for us, I think it's an easy option, saying like, oh, okay, well, I know that Mike's if he says he's gonna dock off at this time, I know that he's gonna be off the dock at this time. So just having the confidence to know that we're gonna go out there and have something very consistent and solid. Maybe one boat's gonna be a little bit faster than the other, but in the end, knowing that you're gonna have someone that's gonna continue to try to get better and continue to try to push you is a huge benefit. And just being able to trust that you can be open with each other, and knowing that you're trying to grow as a group is always going to be a huge gain for both teams. So oftentimes you're going to have to give a little bit in order to get a little bit back. So I think that's finding a good tuning partner and a good relationship with another team I think both teams can make, huge strides in good directions.
Yeah, and I mean, when you like finding people that are similar skill level, similar goals, similar organization level, again, like you don't have to find the best coach, the best team. You have to find, somebody who can push you to help you achieve your goals, whatever those goals are. Because your goals are different than my goals, are different than Taylor's goals, are different than Naven's goals, and whoever else is on this call, I'm sure all of us have slightly different goals. I mean, we all want to win, but how do you figure that out? Because you don't want to get in a training relationship where you get frustrated. I've been in plenty of those, where it's like the other team's coach and you're just kind of hanging on, and then you feel you kind of feel like, I'm not getting a lot out of this. But it kind of leads me, obviously, yes, we're going to be training down there. But everybody's, their training regimen or their wants or their needs are different. And, I think the one thing that there's not enough of in our sport is people asking questions to each other on the dock. I also see the other side of that, where we get to the dock in the afternoon where we've either had a great day or a terrible day and we're grumpy or whatever the heck it may be. But I hope people, are willing to approach us. I know that, we don't have any secrets. We've literally done everything basically by the tuning guide, other than a turn here, turn there if something looks weird. So we have no secrets. Our sails are stock, but ask questions, because that's how we got to where we've got to, is by, at least I can only speak for myself, but copying what other people did, asking questions, and because, I'm not that talented. I've looked at what other people have done to try to make my teams go better and improve my own sailing. I know at one stage, I want to say, it might've been you, Bowden, organizing a Q&A after sailing down in Miami. I remember that in the hangar. That seemed pretty beneficial, but just more, more talk on the dock. Don't be afraid to come up and grab somebody. If whoever has a good day, or whoever has a bad day, go, hey, what'd you think? How you going, left, right? How tight were you? Hey, we're struggling to jibe. What do you think? Hey, our backstay is really hard to pull on, or go talk to my buddy Bear. He's, I have no idea how to adjust it, but he's the guy, there's so many different skill levels and types of people in this class, which makes it really cool, right? You've got all these kind of pro teams that are going to be training their butts off the next few weeks. And then you got Brian Porter, who's going to come in, and put in 2 days of practice and sail with his family. But he's so talented, and everybody's going to meet somewhere in the top or the middle. Don't be bashful. Come ask for help.
I think that's what's great about this Melges 24 class. It's such an established class. It's been around for 25 years now. Where back in the day, when people were trying to figure the boat out, the sails out, whatever, there was a little bit of, this mentality that, those guys aren't going to tell me what they're doing. And, everybody's trying to stay hush hush secret on their tuning guides. This group, this fleet, this boat is a pretty open book. And we did that, we did that sort of North U clinic in Miami a few years ago, where we got down and we did these debriefs, where we had, all the sailmakers there talking about what was working, what wasn't working. We got to look at a lot of video. It is a great group of people where you can just go and ask people. Like Mike said, he follows the tuning guide like pretty good. And so, when you're tuning up with a boat and, you just sail over to somebody, hey, how many turns are you? And say, oh, I'm 20 turns on the cap, 18 turns on the lowers, but I think I was a little bit too tight that race. I think that you'll find, and it really goes for every boat out there, everyone's pretty open to helping. I know Taylor and Mike are both, always out there, they're sitting here, they're spending their hour on a Tuesday afternoon when they could be, playing with their daughter.
Not our daughter.
You don't have a daughter?
Might as well be our daughter.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It should be you guys both got it.
I
Anyway,
think I think one thing that to add that I just thought about, kind of going back to like, don't be bashful, right?
Yeah.
You got to put yourself in a position to learn. So, most of the top teams will be out there for a morning lineup, at, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour before the starting gun. Kind of figure that out. Be out there 5 minutes before them, get your sails up, get your life jackets on, get ready to roll. And don't ask them if you can jump in the lineup, just get in the lineup. If they blow you away, so be it. But the more you do that, no one's going to wait for you, right? Like I think that's where the competitor turns on in the morning is like, well, even if it's Taylor, like I'm not going to wait for him. If I'm in a good lineup and we were supposed to meet at the committee boat at 10 o'clock and it's 10:15 and he's not there, I'm out. And not that would happen. But his mentality would be the same. We would be left. So, get out there early and try to find, maybe you try to find the fastest boats. Maybe you try to find, kind of the middle of the pack boats. We've had a training partner that I remember when Stu McNay won the Worlds, they were training with them on Monsoon. They were so much faster than us. It was just crushing our mojo in the morning. So we'd go upwind with them for about 10 seconds. I'd make some crazy excuse up to the team that we had to go do some other thing because I didn't want to go get burned by them before the first race,
Yeah.
So, figure out what works for you, but got to put yourself in a position to learn. The learning isn't going to come to you. You've got to be, you got to go kind of want it.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I'm always open to telling people our plan for the day, what time we're leaving the dock, we're going to go straight to the committee boat, check in, go upwind. And I'm fully open to, talking about our rig tune to anyone on the dock. So yeah, I agree with Mike. You gotta make the effort if you're going to want to, if you're trying to figure out how to get better and you think you can do that by, observing other boats or asking questions, you have to make the effort to go do it for sure.
And don't think that you're the only one there doing it because you've got a lot of boats out on the water. I've certainly been out on the water and been lost, not going that well. And just sail over to Mike or Taylor and be like, hey, where are you guys set on the rig? Where I just felt like I didn't have the confidence that I normally did. And so it's one of those things you're not alone because everyone is out there doing the exact same thing. If you get lost tactically, just kind of, reach over to the guy that you're tuning up with. And it circles back to, to having that preparation, having that plan before you leave the dock. And we're kind of, we're working through this list on World's preparation and, we're talking about, what we can do before the events, what we can do at the lead up events, what we can do practicing at the venue. And now, here we've got, we'll have 6 or 7 teams here in Fort Lauderdale this weekend practicing. I think this is a big tool if you can pull it off to where some certain things about the venue. Where the boats need to be, where the trailers are going to go, and this is where we're going to bring Bob in here to talk a little bit about the venue. Knowing the venue is a critical part of being ready so that there aren't surprises, so that we don't have some hiccup, screw up time out on the water. Bob's helping putting the regatta on. And so he's helping organize a lot of the logistics. We've got 2 separate venues here with the Lauderdale Yacht Club and Pier 66 for launch and hauls and boat storage and measurement. Bob, can you give us a little bit of insight on the venue so that these teams that are coming down here can be ready, know what to expect?
Yeah, absolutely. On shore, we've planned to have 2 sites, as John just said, with dockage at both, split social, but most of it at the yacht club. The nice thing about the Pier 66 site is it's a blank slate. It's a wide open platform. So parking, trailers, just parking your car or the empty boat trailer, all that can happen there very, very easily. Should be easy in and out with the crane. We think logistically, it's going to be very, very simple there. There is a facility that was built a couple of years ago for some boat shows that'll provide a nice big air conditioned place for finalized registration, measurement, weigh in, all sorts of stuff like that, that should be very straightforward. On land, most of the social events will be at the Lauderdale Yacht Club. We members just spent a whole lot of money, so people can enjoy it. And trust me, we're going to try and show it off and make sure everybody has a good time, enjoys some food, has a couple of nice cold things to drink. But of course, the most important part is the sailing. Those of you who've been here are familiar with the sailing venue. We'll have 2 locations. One will be, we expect to do most of the racing on the south course, out of Pier 60 or out of the Port Everglades, hang a right and come down here and into this area like this. From time to time, the Navy does submarine testing down there and doesn't give much notice. So we're also having a north course that's available up here. It's a little more crowded. There's a little more boat traffic going through. We'll be doing our best to prevent that, minimize it with some course marshals and people out there to try and stop the big boats from blasting through at speed. In general, though, racing will be south. On shore, when you look at the Super Yacht Village, there's been a building built here, but other than that, what you see is pretty much what you get. It's a blank slate like that. The 17th Street Bridge, kind of an icon of Fort Lauderdale. Boats can go in and out of that without the bridge raising. And then the Lauderdale Yacht Club is just about a 5 or 6 minute trip up the ditch here and into LYC like this. Boats at LYC will occupy the east docks. Should be pretty condensed, pretty controlled, with a bunch of. We think we can get most of the boats too wide in the slips here. We did that for the Nationals some years ago, so everybody should be in the same place. Parking's not great. When is it at a yacht club? But we'll make do with that. All in all, we're very confident in the on the water stuff. Our PRO, Tom Lehan, very experienced. He wanted me to make sure and mention that he's helping the underprivileged in the youth training program, so someone like Chip Till can get a little bit of experience at these. Are you there, Chip? Thank you for coming. Tom wanted me to say hi, and thanks for helping him. The on the water stuff will be great. We hope to keep things simple, fun, and enjoyable off the water, respecting that it is a world championships. But you got to eat, you got to drink, and we hope that we can hit it out of the park in every category.
Bob, are there any hazards out there on the water? Between Lauderdale Yacht Club, Pier 66, the bridge, out through the jetties. Is there anything that people need to be concerned about?
At LYC, there is an entrance channel here. I'm not sure you can see the channel markers like this. In general, if you stay in the middle of the channel, you're fine. We've sounded it at low tide recently, and the Melges shouldn't have a problem. Honor it when you come in, and we'll say it again at the skipper's meeting, I'm sure. Approach all the way to the dock and then turn. You want to know about hazards? Yeah, on the weekend, since COVID, this sandbar and this sandbar have been taken over by drunken idiots on party boats who just drop anchor, go out, and just go nuts. So if you're docked here, entertainment on the weekend will be provided courtesy of the floating fleet out here. They stay in shallow water though, so they can stand. Coming out, you'd leave the entrance channel here, come out to the intercoastal. The merge into the intercoastal can be a little dicey if, again, mostly a weekend activity. If it's a nice weekend, you just got to watch the traffic. But then it's a straight shot out to 17th Street Bridge, which you can go right through. Once you're past 17, once you're in the channel, depth is not an issue for anywhere you're going to go. This is a 40-foot deep major cruise port and freight terminal. Out Port Everglades, you can, I wouldn't go right up to the edge, but you can go pretty close to the edge in this and be okay. Stay in the center of the channel and you're fine. Again, busy weekends, you will notice fishing boats, pleasure boats may be blasting in and out of here at speed. You'll have to keep your eyes open. They don't have a lot of, well, it's not that they don't love sailboats, it's they just don't see them. You're used to it, you'll see it, and you'll go through. Most of the time it's going to be come out, hang a right, go south. Now you're in the Atlantic. You have nothing to worry about out here, and unless you get too close to shore. Bigger boats have a couple of reefs to worry about. Melges don't draw that much. So racing will take place out here. We will use mark set bots. So water depth on an east breeze, it could get into 100, 120 feet, but we don't have anchors to deal with. We've been using the mark set bots for over a year now, in wind, in waves, in current, and have become true believers. So we expect those will treat everybody nicely. We'll have spares and anchored marks just in case everything goes haywire anyway.
Yeah, cool. Very good. Well, we really appreciate everything that Lauderdale Yacht Club, you guys have done to sort of make this happen. You know, we've gone through the 2 years of cancellation, so we definitely appreciate you guys getting out there, getting this put together for us. And I have no doubt with your nice new club, you guys are going to put on a hell of a show. So just kind of wrap up here. You know, we talked a lot about preparation. I just want to finish up on, you know, things that you guys do for race days. You know, Mike, Taylor, you know, we talk about all this practice, all these things, you know, they all come together come race day, and everything that we can do to just be comfortable. You know, when the world starts, everybody's nerves can get a little rattled, and, you know, some things that you just, you know, follow your guidelines just to leave the dock feeling relaxed, feeling easy, knowing that your, you know, your boat's ready, your team's ready, everybody's doing the same jobs. You know, are kind of important steps and things. Are there any other last minute things that you guys, you know, do when it comes time for race one?
I think if you like the things that you do off the water that sound so simple and like are almost eye roll worthy when I say them to people about, you know, figuring out how long it takes you to get your coffee, how long it takes you to go to the grocery store, if the 17th Street Bridge is going to get shut down, you know, like just stuff like that, how long it takes to go to the race course. What do you do on your way out to the race course if there's big waves? You know, where do you get gas for your engine? Most people think that I'm kind of BSing when I say that. It is the complete foundation of doing well in the sport of sailing. Just like I'm sure all of you do in your day jobs, your businesses, all of that sort of stuff. You know, I bet you show up on time, ready to go, and your staff or your colleagues all do the same, or they probably wouldn't be working with you. If you apply that in our sport, it will lead to great success. And at a Worlds, everybody gets, you know, excited because it's a really cool thing to be part of a world championship. It's you know, in my opinion, one of the most special parts of our year. But like, do the little things that, again, we've harped on it, that take no skill, no talent, no, you know, no money, no time really, you know, and nail those down so that when it's time to go sailing, all you have to think about is sailing. And it will make your tactics better. It will make your boat handling better. And I think it'll lead to, you know, kind of good team culture and like kind of happiness and like everybody getting each other's backs. Easiest way to get frustrated is before you leave the dock, without water, or the person's late because the gas station's closed on Thursdays. They didn't know that. And then when I miss the first shift, everybody looks at me like you know, well, Buckley already made us late today. Now he can't hit a shift, you know? So I think that it eliminates that thinking. So that's my biggest takeaway. Keep it simple. I know Will asked about head stays and getting rigging from Melges, and I said the same thing over the group text. Keep it simple. And I think that's my best advice. And in closing, come say what's up at the next event, training, whatever. And love to chat with, see some familiar faces on here. Saw Casey and Navin and a few others, but yeah, hopefully come introduce yourself if we're ever on the racetrack or on shore together.
Yeah. Cool. And I know Taylor has a hot date tonight. So there were a couple questions from the field. So Bob, what were those? Got a couple questions here.
Looks like Buckley's been doing a great job of getting to them. We've dispensed with if everyone has seen this already, do top boats have their own riggers make their stays, or they buy the parts from Melges? That was the keep it simple answer. Buy them stock from Melges for the least risk and having them fail. It sounds like Kyle Nevin wants to explore the intricacies of gummies and which gummies are best, but I think you could probably do that offline. Does anybody else have any other questions? Oh,
Navin asked for how to jibe the kite, but I don't think we have enough time to teach him how to jibe the kite tonight.
No, that's for another day. He's gonna have to put on about 30 or 40 more pounds. Grow some.
I think in closing for me, just come up with a plan and try to be as normal as possible. We like to train like we race, so making sure the boat's prepped to basically go racing every day. And if you do your jobs and you assign those roles, and everyone does their own jobs, you should be ready to go every day, and hold each other accountable and push each other, because you need to rely on your teammates to make this whole thing work. So yeah, for sure. And I think hopefully what we did here tonight was we kind of gave a little insight into a couple of the top teams, and really wanted to emphasize really how simple we try to make this. This isn't, the little things are not hard. And if we can get all these little things right, so can you. Like I said, we're all available. We're all on the water. Everybody's open for a chat. So, come by, reach out, say hi. Bob will be running around the yacht club come World's time. It'll be a great resource for you. And, me, Mike, and Taylor will be on the docks. Come by, reach out, and, let's get into this Worlds, have everybody be ready. And, hopefully we can all walk away having learned something, and hopefully had a good time.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Taylor. And thank Bob.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. See you all soon. Have a nice night.
Yep.